So in 2000, I set up an organization. It's known by the name Gyanshala, and that's what I have been associated since then. So we work in school education. Luckily, things have gone well. So our program has been able to do good things, both for our children that we work with, and also in larger sense, working at a larger space of government schools as well in the low-cost private schools. So basically, we work on the school education of the poor children. So that is the domain that we are working in, and that's what has been the life for the last 23 years.
सबसे पहले माँ भारती चैनल में पंकज सुमन केसी नंदन, मुझे लगता है कि हनुमान जी का आशीर्वाद आपको मिला हुआ है। और हमारे जो कुंद्रा जी हैं यूएसए से, वो तो 45 साल से वहां पे हैं, और निश्चित रूप से ये तो वेदास को बढ़ाने के लिए बात करते हैं। तो आपके पास तो शिव जी का आशीर्वाद है। और मैं दो लर्नेड आप दोनों हैं, उनसे बात करने का मौका मिल रहा है। और आज का टॉपिक है कि डोनेशंस एंड एकेडमिक रिफॉर्म्स। अब डोनेशंस के बारे में मेरा अपनी सोच ये है कि माँ भारती की सेवा करना भी सेवा है, और अल्मा मेटर की सेवा करना भी सेवा है। अब अल्मा मेटर की सेवा कर रहे हैं तो माँ भारती की सेवा तो अपने आप ही हो रही है। मगर मैं थोड़ी सी सोच ये रखता हूँ कि गरीब से गरीब आदमी पे को अच्छी से अच्छी एजुकेशन, जो आपका भी ध्येय है, वो कैसे पहुंचे, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। रुड़की में या अच्छे इंस्टीट्यूट्स में तो अच्छे इंस्टीट्यूट बच्चे आते ही हैं, मेधावी होते हैं, वो तो शेप कर लेते हैं। मगर ये भी सत्य है कि जो बच्चे गरीब बैकग्राउंड के होते हैं, उनकी इंटीग्रिटी साउंड होती है, और लाइफ में सफल होने के लिए इंटीग्रिटी आल्सो मैटर्स। और जो आपका जो ध्येय है, जो आप कह रहे हैं कि हम एजुकेशन फॉर ऑल, फ्री फॉर ऑल, इसको हम बहुत ज़्यादा वेलकम करते हैं। और जो आपका उद्देश्य है कि हम डोनेशन देके क्या प्राप्त करेंगे, इसके बारे में आप थोड़ी सी हम लोगों को बताएं। और कौल साहब भी आ गए हैं। कौल साहब, यू आर वेलकम। और कौल साहब तो
नमस्कार जी,
कंसल्टेंट हैं,
नमस्ते।
35 साल का अनुभव विदेशों का रखते हैं। तो वी हैव ए वेरी लर्नेड टीम टुडे, ऑल आर वेलकम। और कम से कम 5 मिनट तो सब लोग बोला ही, और पंकज सुमन जी कम से कम 10 मिनट बोले हैं, और कुंद्रा जी भी कम से कम 10 मिनट बोले।
ओके,
यस।
देखिए, I was in a part of the higher education system, both where I taught for almost 15 years, and somewhat in the USA and UK. I was basically higher education system, so I have some understanding of it, but I think I really know more about the school education in some depth. Now, what we need to realize that money actually is not the major issue in terms of the improving the school education, because not many people probably would realize, for example, India spent like 15 lakh crore rupees is the money which is spent every year by the India as a nation, 15 lakh crores. India is spending almost 5% of GDP on the education, which is the norm world over. But because of the various structural constraints, our attainments are much smaller compared to the money we spend. So एक तो बात आप ये समझिए कि the education is a big budget issue. Like I don't know exact information, but I have reasonable, I can estimate that the Roorkee, IIT Roorkee का budget करीब 500 crore per year होगा कम से कम, or maybe more than that, frankly. So So it is between, I was telling that it will be between 500 to 1000 crore somewhere, but surely that. So we are talking about the money of that order, just one institution. And total money, as I told you, that in India, Indian nation spends around 15, 1500 lakh crore. There's the kind of money being spent. So donation is not important from the point of view of money per se. What donation does is following. I'll just give you one example. When I was in the consulting mode, I had a chance to do an assignment for some agency. I don't want to, and that was in the health sector. I went to meet the health secretary in the Madhya Pradesh, and I was treated rather well. And for some reason, I was in a position. He knew me from my faculty days, so I could be frank with him. So I asked him a question कि सर ये बताइए कि आपका जो मैं बहुत पुरानी बात है ये his departmental budget used to be 12,000 crore at that time. And the project that I was supposed to facilitate was just 200 crore over 3 years. So I said, sir, your annual budget is 12,000 crore. This project that you are spending so much time with me is just 200 crore over 3 years. Why is that? Then what he told me, Professor Jain, this 12,000 crore, I am like a clerk. I just sign on the checks and I have no control because all the money is already committed in the form of routine expenses, whether it is salary, maintenance, etc., etc. He said this 200 that you are giving me enables me to become really an officer and decide how this money should be used. So the important role of donation in improving education is because it allows people to do something which they are normally not doing or they are not allowed to do in the normal structure or normal system. So unless donation is used to actually support something which is new and different, donation per se in terms of the money is almost immaterial because nobody, even the large organization like, see, for the last 20 years, I have been in the business of raising money. And currently, at least for the last 10 years, we are raising more than, let's say, 10 to 15 crores every year. But money is nothing. My budget, we have sort of some kind of a national level acceptance, but frankly, a district education officer, he controls budget of 20 times than our budget. So money-wise, amount-wise, donations are not material. They mean nothing. What matters if that money gets linked to do something which is very intelligently placed, thought through, which has ways of combining whatever else is happening in the system, then to do something which additionally needs to be done. So I think that's what the perspective we must realize, the role of donation in improving the quality. Your amount, whatever you give, will be very small amount. You have to use. Are we doing something which is would not have been done otherwise in the system per se? So the game of being effective in donation is to understand the working of the total system, which are the critical leverage point, and becoming very clear strategically what is that you want to do, what is that you want to do, and whether it would make any impact or not. See, in the field of education, you must understand every parent, because he or she has been able to contribute to the child's education. Every human being has some ideas about education. Every human being. In spite of the fact that we have 1400 million ideas to improve education, we are doing very badly in India. To find out what will work is a complex thing. So unless donation is linked to a deeper understanding of the big education system, whatever that is, whether it is IIT, whether it is a school, government of India, school system at North, ultimately, if you want to be effective, you need to understand the system and find out a way whereby whatever you have or whatever you are able to mobilize can make some difference. So I would stop at this point saying in terms of explaining the context of donation and quality improvement.
मेरा प्रोफेसर जैन साहब, आप तो पीएचडी हैं, डॉक्टर भी हैं और इतने लर्नेड हैं. मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि अपने देश में भी जो उद्यमी है, बायजू है, आंसर की क्लासेस भी हैं, और मैं देख रहा था जियो ने भी बड़ा अच्छा इनिशिएटिव लिया हुआ है कि पहली क्लास से बल्कि केजी क्लास से लेके 12th क्लास तक सभी सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़ने को मिल रहे हैं। मुझे जो सबसे जरूरी बात लगती है वो ये है कि दुनिया का बेस्ट ऑफ बेस्ट लेक्चर की इंडेक्सिंग होनी चाहिए, और जो लेक्चर है, जो इंटेलेक्ट है आदमी का, वो कॉपीराइट एक्ट या इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट के अंदर नहीं आना चाहिए। क्योंकि मुझे ये लगता है, हम रुड़की में ही पढ़ते थे, कुछ प्रोफेसर्स बहुत अच्छे थे। अच्छा, जब वो पढ़ा रहे हैं तो आपने लेक्चर उनका रिकॉर्ड कर लिया, अगर किसी और के काम आ गया तो इसमें बुराई क्या है? मैं चाहता ये था कि जैसे यूनेस्को जैसी संस्था है, भाई आप क्यों कोई कहता है कि भाई आई एम में IITs के कुछ लेक्चर्स फ्री अवेलेबल हैं मेरे संज्ञान में, तो और ये जो हार्वर्ड है या स्टैनफोर्ड है या MIT है, वहाँ भी कुछ सेलेक्टिव लेक्चर्स एंड ट्यूटोरियल्स फ्रीली अवेलेबल है। मैं ये सोचता था कि भाई आपके पास अगर पैसा है तो आप एक ऐसा स्टार्टअप तैयार करें जैसे खान सर ने तैयार किया, या बायजू टाइप का है, जो एक जनरेशन से दूसरी जनरेशन तक आगे बढ़ता चले। बड़े बड़े पंडितों ने, बड़े बड़े महर्षियों ने अपने अपने ट्रस्ट बना रखे हैं, एकेडमिक ट्रस्ट भी हो सकते हैं। एक यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ रुड़की और IIT रुड़की जैसे इंस्टीट्यूट को हम अगर 2-3 करोड़ दे देते हैं, उनका तो क्या भला होगा। हम एक नई तरह का इनोवेटिव कुछ काम शुरू करें तो ज्यादा अच्छा है। इससे पहले कि मैं अपनी बात को बंद करूं, मैं चाहूंगा कि कौल साहब इस बारे में 2 शब्द बोलें, और फिर कुंदा साहब बोलें, फिर आप प्रोफेसर जैन साहब जवाब दीजिए। कौल साहब प्लीज।
भाई सबसे पहले तो मैं आपका धन्यवाद दूंगा, क्या कहते हैं सिन्हा साहब, कि आपने मेरे को इस प्रोग्राम में बुलाया और क्या कहते हैं भाग लेने का वो दिया। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। एंड पंकज साहब का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, अच्छा इन्होंने डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया। और फिर अरुण कुंद्रा तो हमारे पुराने चैंपियन हैं ही, जो इस चीजों में काफी अच्छा क्या कहते हैं योगदान देते हैं। देखिए, जहां तक डोनेशन का सवाल है, आपने पंकज जी बिल्कुल सही कहा कि जो डोनेशन जो है अमाउंट वाइज जो है इनका कोई ज्यादा वेटेज नहीं है, राइट। तो डोनेशन का जो जो अगर इंडिविजुअल डोनेशन की बात करें, मेरे ख्याल उसी के बारे में बात हो रही है, इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज्ड डोनेशन की बात नहीं हो रही है। इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इंडिविजुअल डोनेशंस। तो उसमें तो मेरे ख्याल में जो इंडिविजुअल की जो हेल्प हो सकती है, जो कि विद्यार्थी है, उसको अगर कोई फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस की जरूरत है, तो उसको जो है कोई, जैसे आपका पूल, अगर आप कहते हो कि आपका 10 से 15 करोड़ का पूल है, तो उसमें आप जो है नीडी स्टूडेंट्स को आप कुछ उसमें मदद कर सकते हो, एंड दैट विल बी ए ग्रेट थिंग। एंड स्पेशली अगर वो उस बेस पे है कि भाई अगर कोई ब्राइट स्टूडेंट है, just because of lack of money, he's not able to achieve his goal, and by achieving his goal, you are actually also supporting the national economy. So my main purpose is, if you are doing any kind of donation, whether it's 1 rupee or whether it's 1 crore or 10 crores, it has to help the national economy. It has to support that the nation is progressing, India is progressing. I think that should be the main goal as far as the donations are concerned. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect, मेरे ख्याल जो डोनेशन का जो है, वो आपका होगा प्रोजेक्ट्स के बारे में, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट के बारे में। होता क्या है कि जो इंडस्ट्री की जो R&D होती है, दैट इज वेरी फोकस्ड, एंड दैट फोकस इज मेनली टू डेवलप प्रोडक्ट्स विच विल बी सेलेबल इन द मार्केट। सो उनकी मार्केट रिसर्च होती है, उसके हिसाब से फिर वो प्रोडक्ट की डेवलपमेंट करते हैं, एंड देन दे कम टू सम काइंड ऑफ ए product which is sellable and they can make money on it. इंस्टीट्यूशंस का जो दो वो है, क्या कहना चाहिए, मेन जो पर्पस है वो ये है कि दे शुड बी डूइंग द बेसिक R&D, the institutional R&D, which will actually establish the basic fundamentals of science. Or it could be anything. It could be politics, it could be economics, it could be anything. तो वो चीज जो है, वो donation will be totally different than these, and that is where the institutionalized donation will come into the picture. तो आप उसको जो है, डोनेशन को जो है, उसको हमें बढ़ावा देने की बहुत जरूरत है। उसी में एक टेंजेंट आता है, वो ये कि व्हाई शुड द इंजीनियरिंग जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, व्हाई डोंट दे हैव ए गुड कोलैबोरेशन विद द इंडस्ट्री, कि जो बच्चे जो पढ़ रहे हैं उनको राइट फ्रॉम द डे वन, चलो डे वन कह लो या सेकेंड ईयर से या जो भी कुछ है, उनको जो है इंडस्ट्री के साथ थोड़ा सा कोऑपरेशन करने की एक, क्या कहना चाहिए, आदत डालनी चाहिए कि भाई दिस इज व्हाट यू विल बी फेसिंग इन द फ्यूचर। अगर आप लोगों को याद होगा, हम लोग जब निकले थे, हमें कुछ नहीं पता था इंडस्ट्री के बारे में क्या हो रहा है, अपार्ट फ्रॉम कि हाँ जी वो समर वेकेशन में हम अपना किसी फैक्ट्री में जाके हो आए, उसमें थोड़ा देख लिया, किसी के पास वहां पे टाइम तो होता नहीं था हमारे को कुछ समझाने के लिए, तो हमने जो देख दाख लिया, उसके अलावा और उसमें ज्यादा कुछ, मतलब उसमें कुछ निकलता नहीं था। सो दिस काइंड ऑफ, क्या कहते हैं, जो कोऑपरेशन विद द इंडस्ट्री, और इंडस्ट्री को भी उसमें कुछ रिजल्ट्स मिलने चाहिए, एंड देन देयर विल बी सम काइंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल अरेंजमेंट आल्सो, call it a donation, call it a help, or whatever you can call it, so it will also help the institutions. तो मेरे जो है ये मेन तीन मुद्दे जो है डोनेशन के, वो ये है, दिस इज व्हाट आई फील वी शुड बी encouraging and developing further.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaul. Now, Mr. Kundra, you tell us what is your objective, what is your mission and vision in support of Mr. Pankaj Suman Jain, and your individual thought process.
देखो, मैं thank you for giving me this opportunity, and Kaul साहब और जैन साहब और सुधीर, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. There are I'm a little bit of different thinking than this. Is not just throwing money makes the education work. I have lived in the United States for a long time, and I see they're spending millions and millions of dollars, and the quality of education is still poor. And they can only produce only about 53,000 engineers a year, compared to India, which produces about 350,000 engineers a year or scientists a year. So, and we all know, all of us here in this, we know that we grew up, we all came from very average families. We came, many of our parents had very difficult time after partition. They lost everything and they rebuilt it. And I know in mid 60s and 70s, there were shortages of food, and we survived through that because our parents instilled in us the values that you got to study, you got to work hard. And they guided us through this to what we are today. So just not the colleges or schools make a difference. It is also the family which supports you and inspires you, people in the life. They make you what you are. The second point is that we cannot expect everyone to be an engineer or a scientist or a doctor or any higher. There are different levels of people. You know, if you try to take a student who's not good in studies, but he's very good with the hands, so you cannot make him an engineer. He may not be successful as an engineer, but he could be very successful as a plumber or electrician. Many plumbers and electricians make many times more money if you look into than the qualified engineers or a scientist. Okay, so question is that how we do that, that we select, offer people based on their likings, based on their qualities, what they could do. Many people ask me, Mr. Kundra, I don't know what I want to do, what I want to study. And I said there are three things. One thing is that you need to know what you like best. And the second is that you need to know what you want to do in life. And one of the things is that so this, how do I know what I like? I said, look at your school subjects, the subjects you do in there, in which you excel, and you put least amount of work in them, but you excel in those. Those are the things you like. And the second is, what do you want to do? Is one person, one young one said, at some point in my life, I want to be a CEO of a company. And I said, then my suggestion would be that you study engineering. Because when you look at a car, being an engineer, you would know there is a transmission, there is an engine, there are brakes, there are other things in there. It is just not a mode of transportation from one place to another. So we need to select based on the qualities and abilities of a person, what kind of education we want to give them. And of course, the inspiration on that. So those are my 2 cents here. The third one I have is that in India, we are very, very impersonal and focused on school grades, on college grades. Oh, I'm a topper of IIT Roorkee, and just don't mean to say anyone else. But they really do not have the life skills. They really do not know how to deal with people. The good leaders are people who have a vision and who can deliver that vision. And that makes people successful. And I don't think we teach them in our schools and colleges, that how to work with others, how to, how to respect others, and how to respect people who do not know anything, but they are working with you. So give them due respect, everyone. I don't think we teach them. And those are my 3 cents. So if I would do anything in my schools, so we try to give them some spiritual knowledge. So for example, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is an ideal book to be taught. It's taught in the management schools too. It gives you many skills about life. And it gives you, I'm pretty sure about myself. If I had read Gita in the at Roorkee in the first, second year, my thinking of life would be completely different today than it would be otherwise. So those are my 2 cents with that. I will listen to you, John.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arun Kundra. Now I will switch over to Professor Dr. Pankaj Suman Jain. आपका जो पैशन है डोनेशन के प्रति, और आप हमारे बैच में फ्लैग वियरर भी हैं इस मामले में, आपने हम लोगों की बातें सुनी और इस बात को आगे बढ़ाते हुए कुछ इस तरह से कंक्लूड करें कि हम लोग सब आपसे सहमत हो जाएं और आपके पीछे पीछे चलें. So, Mr. kindly speak something.
तो पीछे ऐसा है कि when it comes to the things in life, you have to talking about numbers. Okay. जो हमने बातें कही अब तक, they are applicable for to 1500 lakh crore. Okay. All the principle will apply to both the things. But when you talk concrete thing to be done, you have to talk about what kind of money we are talking about. Are you talking about 1,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees, crore, 5 crore, and all the concrete thinking would be different at each level. That's number one. Because abstract ideas, that's fine. That's okay. But if comes to the concrete action, we have to talk about what kind of a level of resources we are talking about it. Now, from the whatever I have heard about from this about the desire of the people to positive or negative, I don't see a significant possibility of raising. I do not know in some specific individual whether it is Vinita or Kundra, which are probably at different levels. But my assessment is that it is very unlikely that as a common fund, we might be able to generate anything more than 1 crore or 2 crores. Now, if that is the kind of money, given the fact that Roorkee University's budget is 1,000 crore, you cannot do anything significant which has a capital expenditure or committed revenue expense. See, nothing significant happens in 1 year. Anything you want to do, it has to be done for over a few years for it to produce result. Even if, for example, if a person also, a student has to study for 4 years to really come out something significant. So whatever you want to contribute, if it has to have some impact over a few years, then we are talking about work per year money available. If we are talking about the total money available is 2 crore, per year money available is equivalent to only 50 lakh. What can be done? So we have to talk about those things. My view is that so I'm just sort of reflecting on the point that you said, Byju's, or if we can prepare a material which can be used. I would just like to share with you that in learning, I have been a teacher myself. I believe teacher or these things play a very small role. What matters is the learner. We are bigger. I can assure you that even if we had gone to different colleges, we would have done almost as well in life as we have done. Of course, it's not, Roorkee did not matter. It mattered, but eventually it will be individually what we came up with, what we have put in together, what matters. So ultimately, students matter far more in terms of what ultimately is the outcome of the institute than the lectures or the teachers, frankly. Okay, this is my view, though I have been as a professional for much of my life. The bottom line is what children are able to do or students are able to do. So I am always inclined to really empower the students than the system per se. For two reasons: system is too expensive. The kind of money that we people can raise would make no difference to the system unless we can find somebody who has some idea to do something. We find that individual and support that individual. We don't have anybody like that. So changing system is a very complex thing. No outsider can do it, only insider can do it. If any of you have access to that individual within Roorkee who wants to improve, then you just support that person. I haven't found anybody. If it is a matter of outsider, then my sympathy would be that how many students we can support with whatever money that we are able to generate. That I think is the pragmatic best way of moving forward. So if it is like a couple of crore rupees, I believe that if it has to be carried over, now they can be already ways. We can spend that money over next 5 years, next 10 years, or something like that. We can work out arrangement as to how many students you can support with that money in a manner that it is something to that student in terms of his or her trajectory of life. So to me, that seems to the practical way. Other than that, of course, if you have access to somebody who is already inside the university, has clear ideas how he or she wants to make significant difference within the institute, and you want to support that individual, that is I don't have access to anybody inside the institute who say, listen, I want to do these things, I have capability, I have thought through, and I need X amount of to move forward. If you can find somebody like that, that would be very effective, frankly. That kind of user. When I go and ask money for the people, I don't bother about what they want. And all good donors say they are not bothered about what they want. They ask me what I want to do and what capabilities I have. And people, if they are convinced that I would be able to
may I pose a question, Pankaj? May I pose a question? I want to ask you, since you collect all this money from different places, what do you do with this money?
I do three things. I run school program for the out of the school children who live in the slums. So like we have been running every year this program for the last 10 years, on an average 25 to 50,000 children. So we just simply educate them. And then we put
so
them.
you have set of teachers?
have a set of whole school system. We design the books, we design the curriculum, we design the testing.
Okay.
This is the system we run.
Okay. So
Which is
basically
totally-
what you're doing is you're giving the fundamental education to the children who are very poor, correct?
Yes. So that's the thing which I do, and plus we have.
So you
What
you
has
don't have any program for the engineering students, or let's say any vocational training. There you
No,
don't have
no.
any program.
None of that kind. We do only up to grade 8. And what we have done, fortunately, for some reason, we have been able to evolve a model which is considered to be highly effective by a lot of people who are in this business. Therefore, we get opportunities to share our model with the other user, let's say government of India or state government, who then adopt whatever they can our model, and there's a very large scale impact.
So my next question is that in case you are doing this only for the children who belong to the poor class,
Right.
so that means you're trying to expand now into the vocational training also, or this is not your aim anymore?
Any money from this thing for my program. My operation operate at a level, as I told you, that I raise up to everything around 15 crore, and anything, I don't accept any program unless it is 3 to 4 years. So my thinking would be anything of 50 crore kind of a thinking. There's the level at which
No, I'm not asking how much money you have. What I'm asking is basically, do you want to expand it to the vocational training students also? That's what I'm asking. No. Okay, all right. See, Sudhir, this is where may I put my point of view now? See, I think we are sort of talking, three different aspects as I can analyze it. All right. One thing is that Pankaj is solely interested in doing this for the basic education of the poorest of the poorest class, that is in the slums, right? Sudhir, I think, is talking about more the kind of donations which can be given to the institutions like Roorkee University or IITs or whatever else we have. And here, naturally, because we have done our engineering from University of Roorkee, so we will be more inclined to do something for our alma mater. Am I right in that? So that is one thing. So there, either Pankaj has to expand his horizon here for his.
You are in time.
एक्चुअली मैं पहले 1 घंटा पहले सोचा था टाइम थोड़ा मैंने सोचा कि 1 घंटा हमारे यहाँ से टाइम डिफरेंस में ना तो but yeah I try to log in at about 9:30 our time. So हाँ जी नमस्ते जी
Jain साहब, you are welcome.
नमस्कार, कैसे हैं आप सर?
बढ़िया सर, आप क्या थोड़ा सा अपना कुंदा की तरह 56 इंच का सीना दिखाइए।
और कैसे हो पंकज?
ऑल गुड भैया, कृपा है ईश्वर की और सब जो शुभ चिंतक है उनके।
पंकज जी, आप मेरा इसरो में भी रहे हैं और IIM में, आपका तो प्रोफाइल के बारे में थोड़ा बताइए।
That is true यार। देखो ऐसा है कि मैं रुड़की से पास आउट किया था, तो बाय चांस आई गॉट ए जॉब इन इसरो अहमदाबाद यूनिट के अंदर। सो आई जस्ट तो उस टाइम पे यार इसरो वाज एब्सोल्युटली न्यू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, ऑल वर यंग पीपल, एंड in a way it was building up, and actually everybody was getting a lot of good chances to to do new project and whatnot. So by chance, for some reason, I think my interview had gone rather well, which selected me. So the normal levels hota hai, they gave me one slightly higher grade जो normally दिया करते थे। तो उसकी वजह से because there was, I guess it was known, so I was getting more opportunities to join various groups, so to speak. And so I was very happy and doing whatever. हालांकि कुछ आता तो हो नहीं, जब रुड़की से पढ़ के आते हैं तो सब थियरी आती है, प्रैक्टिकल तो पता होता नहीं। पर ठीक ठाक चल रहा था वहाँ पर काम। और उसमें क्या हुआ यार, वहाँ पर जो नॉर्मली मीटिंग वगैरह हुआ करती थी, तो हमारे उस टाइम जो इसरो का अहमदाबाद यूनिट थी, उसका नाम था स्पेस एप्लीकेशन सेंटर, और उसके जो डायरेक्टर थे वो है प्रोफेसर यशपाल। तो जब भी हम लोगों की वो इंजीनियर्स की मीटिंग हुआ करती थी प्रोफेसर यशपाल के साथ, तो उनके साथ दो लोग हमेशा मिलते थे, बैठे थे वहां पर। तो थोड़े दिन बाद मैं देखा यार, और वो लोग को पता था कि ये पता चल गया मुझे कि ये लोग इंजीनियर नहीं है, क्योंकि वो टेक्निकली कोई बात नहीं करते थे, बट दे वर ऑलवेज इन द मीटिंग। और जो हमारे यूनिट के हेड वगैरह होते, दे वुड ऑलवेज ट्रीट देम विद ग्रेट रेस्पेक्ट। तो मैंने पूछा भाई ये लोग कौन है? उन्होंने कहा यार ये आईआईएम के ग्रेजुएट्स हैं दोनों। एक था किरण कार्निक, जो बाद में ही बिकेम ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पर्सन इन द electronics industry, and one used to be Deshmukh. So both of these were from IIM Ahmedabad graduates, and they have joined ISRO, and they were of course in the management positions, so they were significant. तो हमने कहा अच्छा यार ये बात है तो बड़ी बात है, ये तो इनका तो बड़ा रुतबा है, और ये जो भी बात होती है एनीथिंग दे अपरेंटली वर ग्रेट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट। तो जब तक मैं रुड़की में, तो मैं तो नाम नहीं सुना था यार आईएम कोई चीज होती है। आई केम फ्रॉम कानपुर काइंड ऑफ बैकग्राउंड, यार हमें तो कुछ पता नहीं था आईएम क्या होता है। हमें तो रुड़की बड़ी बात थी, बहुत बड़ी। तो जब अहमदाबाद में आए, और थोड़ी हमारी अंग्रेजी भी थोड़ी ऐसी थी, आप जानते जो यूपी में कैसा होता है, तो कुछ पढ़ने वढ़ने का बाहर का भी नजरिया था नहीं।
तो आईआईएम
तो
में
पता
कितने
चला यार
क्लास हुआ कि कुछ जल्दी बताइए, क्योंकि हम आगे बात कर सकें ये प्रोफाइल।
वहाँ पे I did my PhD from there.
ओके,
So
आईआईएम।
I am sick, and then I worked with Dr. Kurian in his office for a couple of years,
ओके,
and then I became faculty member in the institute which was set up to develop the management personnel for the development sector. IRMA is called Institute of Rural Management in Anand.
यस निर्मल।
So I faculty there. I worked there till 1994, and then I quit and sort of became some kind of a or the person on the road who is seeking job. Normally they call them consultant. So and I used to teach at UK and the USA में थोड़ा पढ़ाने वगैरह कुछ मौका मिलता था. So till 2000 I was essentially doing consulting, come teaching abroad. And then 2000 in between various things happened, and I got interested in the primary school education.